All right. So I turned on the record. So tonight we were going to talk about, tonight we were going to talk about the athlete line and how we recommend that athletes use the nutrition line. And so from that, what we talk about is how do you present to athletes? So I helped out somebody today with, oh, there you go. Hey, how are you, Chrissy? So I helped Chrissy
actually
today.
Wanted to say thank you for that. I actually have a coworker who I was on another call, and she's like, oh, maybe I want to know more about that. And I actually have another college athlete looking to sign tomorrow.
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. Oh, here's Marco. So Marco can talk about this a little bit too on the endurance side. So what we coached about today was, and something I want you guys to understand is that this guy that I talked to today with Christy is, he's a yeah, here, sit over here, Marco.
If you're going to be part of the
You're going to be part of the panel.
Yeah, we're all here.
We're all here. So, but he's an athlete, right? So he's an MMA guy. So some people would be hesitant to talk to him about the nutrition because they may think that he knows more because he's an athlete and he's trying to be a professional fighter, you know, and you would just assume that they would have a lot of nutritional knowledge. But he's literally buying some products from GNC. He's doing the best he can, right? He's like most people. Unfortunately, most people don't understand the difference between the different types of proteins and the different types of, you know, the side specs. So we're all sitting here together here, off of ours, everybody. Say it like this. But what I try to talk to people about is, look, there are protein needs, and there are carbohydrate needs, and there are fat needs. And it depends on what your sport is that's going to make that variation. However, if you leave the protein at some place around 40%, and again, it gets more specific as the person needs to be more specific. But if somebody comes to you with already their macro plan in place, then having your macro plan in place just makes your job even easier. Because if they already know what they're supposed to be getting in protein, they already know what they're supposed to be getting in carbs, and they already know what they're supposed to be getting in fats, then we're going to get that. Hang on, I'll mute everybody. If they already know these things, then it makes it really easy for us to just say, hey, no problem. You want carbs, proteins, and fats, and you want this amount of carbs, this amount of protein, this amount of fats. It's no problem. All we have to do then is just dial in what product they need to hit that number. And just to give you an idea, our isolene product, just the regular isolene, is 40% protein, 40% carbs, 20% fats. Okay, so you can build from there. Okay, and here's the other thing. I don't care if they're using a scale or not. Every piece of chicken isn't the exact same in protein, right? Every fish isn't the exact same in protein. They don't do an analysis on every chicken breast, on every piece of fish. They have done an analysis at some point on their product. So then when they're selling it, they say, yeah, this is what it was when we did the test. But every fish they pull out of the sea is slightly different. Every chicken that they kill is slightly different. Guess what's not different? Our protein shake. So our protein shake is going to always be what it's set up to be. It's not ever going to be different, right? So if somebody's really trying to dial their numbers in, they can dial their numbers in a whole lot easier with our product line than they can trying to use some other food sources. Those are going to be a guess, even if they're weighing it. Okay, because if you've ever seen somebody with a food scale, right? They set their food scale out and they weigh out everything, and that's their that's how they set themselves up. So don't ever underestimate the value of being able to say, yeah, but you think your chicken is about this many grams of protein. I know that my product is exactly 18, 36, or 42 if you mix the two together, right? So that's going to be the big difference that you can offer somebody who's really trying to dial those numbers in. And as a general guideline, women should be someplace over 100 and men should be someplace around 150 or higher, okay, grams of protein per day, okay? Now, again, that's a very loose guideline, because if you take somebody, if you take somebody like Priscilla or somebody that's working out a lot or doing something different, then they're going to be, they're going to have a more specific number of what they know they need to hit. But that number dials in differently for everybody. Okay. Hi. So, so that's how you can start the conversation though. Okay. Now, if they go on to MyFitnessPal, you help them go into MyFitnessPal, you help them dial in their daily calorie needs, and then their MyFitnessPal tells them what they need, then again, it's easy. Just dial into their macros, right? You don't have to make this weird. So if you're talking to an athlete and the athlete says, yeah, you know what, I'm already dialed in. I know I need, 3,200 grams or 3,200 calories a day, and I'm supposed to be at 45% protein and 35% carbs and 20% fats, then again, no problem. You can now just help them out so that they don't have to be eating from a Tupperware bowl all day long, and you can show them how to add the nutrition to help them hit that number. Okay, make sense? Okay. I'm going to let Marco talk first on this topic, but tomorrow is a special day for Marco. Not a good special day, but it's a special day for Marco.
Yes.
1 year ago today, Marco was in a really serious bicycling accident and collided with another cyclist, and so there wasn't a car involved. But I'll let him tell you a little bit about his story and his recovery story, and then also about his pre-accident isogenics use. And then if you could talk about your recovery isogenics use, and now your new bones and hips and isogenics use. All right. So.
Hi everyone. So my name is Marco, and I had forgotten until Brent mentioned it that it was about a year ago that I had my really terrible bicycle accident. What happened was we were doing a bicycle ride that we had been doing for 2 years, a group of us, and we go fast on this ride. We had been doing it for 2 years safely, but on that morning, there were some new people in the group, and something happened up front. The group got compressed, and so I didn't even have a chance to touch my brakes. It's just my front wheel was taken out. So I was going close to, we were all going close to 30 miles an hour, and I slammed the ground hard on my right side at 30 miles an hour. I did not skid across the road at all. So I didn't have any, what cyclists call road rash. My clothing was not ripped to shreds from skidding across the road. I just hit the ground hard. And I broke 7 bones on my right side. And, the paramedics had to cut open my clothing, and that was the only time it was cut up. Now, before that accident, I had been using isogenics for 5 months, and I saw really dramatic changes in my body composition. So, I had been cycling for 20 years, trying to eat clean for 20 years. But, I just got to a certain level, and I thought, well, that was it. Maybe that was my genetic limit as far as the sport. But introducing isogenics, I saw, just removal of this stubborn fat around the midsection, and then I built up a lot of lean muscle around the glutes and the quadriceps area, which is what we use for cycling, and it was really just a really good experience. And I didn't change my exercise routine at all. The rest of my meals were the same. I just had more Isoline Pro, and I also learned that cleansing was actually quite good for muscle building. It's not just for weight loss. So I did that, and was on a good trajectory. Then I had that accident. Now, so when I had the accident, the 7 bones that were broken were my clavicle up here, and then my scapula back here. 4 ribs were broken, and 3 of them in 2 places. And then I also broke my acetabulum of my right hip. So apparently my femur, I forget what the ball of the femur that attaches to the hip was pushed up, and it broke my right hip. And so with all that, I was in the hospital for 10 days. And in the hospital, I'm asleep for so many hours in a day. I'm in pain, and I'm hardly eating anything. I'm on painkillers. So I lost a lot of muscle, and there was no way I could eat enough. And I learned from doing research that when you are healing like that, your caloric needs they increase by three times or even 5 times what you need to heal major bones. And so I definitely was not getting that much food during those days in the hospital and pre-surgery. So what happened was you lose lean muscle very quickly, because the body takes the lean muscle and breaks it down and uses the protein from that lean muscle to start repairing the bone. So I experienced that. I lost 15 pounds of muscle in that first week. And after surgery, I was moved into a rehab hospital and was there for 2 weeks.
What was your weight before?
Yeah, so here's my weight. The question from April: what was my weight before, pre-accident, and a few days after? So I was 135 pounds. So I was lean, perfect for cycling, for climbing, which was my specialty, and so I got to 120 at one point, a few days after the accident. And there was also nerve damage, which is in many ways worse than broken bones, because nerve damage, doctors can't predict when that will heal. It's a waiting game. I was not sure that my nerves would come back to my right leg. Fortunately, it has, so my right leg is recovering, and I'm building back muscle in my right leg. But to make it short, so I learned that isogenics was great for me pre-accident, as far as building muscle, as far as getting good nutrition conveniently. But I discovered after my accident that isogenics is also great for therapeutic use. So for getting the nutrients that you need to heal, especially when you can't eat very much, and also for example, getting drugs out of your body. All those painkillers I took, some of them were stored in fat, and I had to cleanse to get that out. And also for rebuilding injured or atrophied muscle, Isoline and Isoline Pro were great for me. So that's the story.
Are you back up to 135?
So yeah, during my, it was a 4-month recovery. I was in a wheelchair for 4 months. And the question from April is, am I back up to my weight? Yeah, I regained weight. I don't know if it's all lean muscle. I'm up to 140 now, and then maintaining that, and we'll see where it goes from there. But I'm trying to build muscle up on my right quadricep again. That was really, it was basically skin on bone. I have some pictures on Facebook. If you want to see, I can tag you. But it was that bad. Yeah, go ahead. Yep. So that's my story, and isogenics is I'm very thankful for it. It was great for healing, and it's still unfolding, but it's been great.
One thing that Marco's not talking about is the fact that he's a very big time. He tracks everything, right? He does a lot of. He's a big time tracker for his data. So with that tracking for data, he's actually done a really good job of being able to show the difference of what happens when he's using isogenics versus when he wasn't, and what has happened as he has continued to use it. Now, obviously his recovery post-accident, a lot of that is just due to the fact that he's back to training. But pre-accident, he was actually able to show the difference, and he's got graphs and stuff like that to help give the example of what that looks like. But anyway, as an athlete and as somebody who was a really high level athlete in cycling and then got seriously injured, and he can attest to the fact of the pre-health benefits, also the fact that he's been able to recover so well in the period of time that it's taken him to do it from such a serious accident, and now continuing on from that. So when you're talking to other athletes about, what does it really do, a lot of it that you guys will hear, and a lot of what I continue to promote, is just the fact that since it's as clean as it is, you don't have the inflammation issues that you get with a lot of filler type products that are out there from other places, and that's a big deal. One real important point I'd like to make is, you talked about your body feasting on the muscle, and your body truly does feast on muscle. And if you don't believe that, if you've ever had any doubts about that, I challenge you to watch a couple of series of Naked and Afraid and take a look at those people when they're finished. And I say that only half joking, in the fact that if you look at those people, they all lose someplace 15, 20, 30 pounds during that 21-day time period. But there's nobody that's going to show that as a successful before and after picture, right? Because even though they've lost all this weight, none of them are happy about it, because what they've lost is they've lost muscle. And when you look at them, you can still see fat on their body, but their body has metabolized the muscle. And what happens when you go into, people are like, oh, I can't lose weight because of this, that, or the other thing. That's not true, okay? 100% of the time, you will lose weight if your body is starved, okay? 100% of the time. All through history, every single time it's ever happened, it happens. The difference is isogenics isn't promoting weight loss. Isogenics is promoting fat loss. And that's where it gets tricky, because you're still trying to feed the body, but you're trying to reduce the fat. And that's where it becomes really important to understand the difference between carbs, fats, and protein, and how your body metabolizes those different products, okay? And that's the real understanding that most people, actually everybody should have, but specifically when you're talking to athletes, that you can at least get their attention for that moment in time, is to talk to them about the benefit of that, okay? Does anybody have any questions for Marco? Marco, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
There's none on mine. Okay. All right. So next, if there's no questions, I'm going to turn it over to April. April's my sister. For those of you that don't know, I'm going to give her a little story. Previous to Isogenics, she was always the girl that was teaching spin class and teaching yoga, and she had gotten certifications to teach all these things. And so she's doing all of these, aerobics teacher type activities. So she's super busy. She's got 2 boys. She's crazy busy with them. But what she couldn't attain was, or what she wasn't able to obtain, was the body that fit the activity level. And that, for her, that was tough, because she was always trying to do the right thing, right? She's trying to eat clean. She's trying to eat the right foods, trying to balance her, her proteins, carbs, fats. She understood all of those things. And so hers is a little bit different in the fact that she knew what her carbs, proteins, and fats should have been, but even trying to take those in over the counter, if you will, from Whole Foods, was difficult. And the problem is, and just to give you a quick example, if a guy's trying to get, or a person is trying to get 150 grams of protein a day, okay, 150 grams of protein a day, that's around 2 pounds of flesh a day. So that's 2 pounds of fish, 2 pounds of chicken, 2 pounds of turkey, whatever. It's about that, right? I mean, fish is a little bit more than turkey, and chicken is a little bit more than red meat, but still it's around 2 pounds per day to hit 150 grams of protein. The problem is, though, when somebody says, oh, well, I want to eat my protein, I'm like, well, that's fine. But the difference is that if you choose to eat 2+ pounds of food, of meat product per day, not only are you getting that protein, but you're also getting everything the cow eats, you're getting everything the fish eats, you're getting everything the chicken eats. And if you know what chicken eats, then that's a question, that's a whole problem itself. Growing up on a farm, I've seen what chickens eat. So so that it's real important to recognize that it's difficult to get all the nutrients that you need when you're trying to eat from the grocery store. And especially if you're trying to eat from a grocery store in a budget mindset where you're buying your meats from, a box store versus buying them from the local farmer's market, because the chicken are raised different, the cattle are raised different, the turkeys are raised different, everything, right? Everybody's seen all the videos and all that kind of stuff, how that works. And it is what it is, right? I'm not an advocate one way or the other. I'm just saying that if you're getting it that way, then that's an issue. So just think about that when you're thinking about consuming food. Anyway, point is, that's why April was having her problem. So as she started using isogenics, she saw that change, and I'll let her tell that story. So it's all yours, sis.
Hello. Yeah, so, but I need to correct your story because I don't think I ever tracked macros in my life before I started prepping for the show.
I thought you did.
Mm-mm. No, but I ate, organic, mostly, Dr. Oz diet, everything that was clean and healthy, and oatmeal and Greek yogurt and blah, blah, blah. But I didn't have any idea about the balance that things were supposed to be. As I said, I've been really active, really a long time. Ran a couple marathons, and that training is, a lot of running, a lot of time. So, but I just wasn't able to lose any weight doing it. And as a result of running when you're heavy, you have a lot of pain in places. So I had really bad plantar fasciitis and tried a lot of different therapies to get that under control. Teaching aerobics, my fascia actually tore from getting cortisone shots in my heel to take the inflammation down so that weakens the tissue. So I was teaching early morning class and went down to bounce on my toes, and it popped. So it sounded like your shoelace just busted apart. So it was super painful, and struggled with that even after that happened. So Brent introduced me to isogenics and continued. I was still teaching classes and doing training and stuff, but the first thing probably I really noticed was I didn't have that issue in my feet after like a week. So after all the therapy that I went through to fix it over years, and 1 week of different nutrition was pretty crazy. So Brent didn't really know even how to do a 30-day system. When he delivered my box, he was like, I don't know, what are these snack things? Let's taste them. So we kind of figured that out together, and so I didn't really follow the plan because I didn't really know there was a plan. So I just kind of started experimenting with it. At the same time, I was having oatmeal and whatever, and I would have a shake instead. So I didn't really change my eating a ton, but I noticed a pretty big drop in inches the first 30 days. And so as a result, my classes, started noticing that I was changing physically and wasn't teaching any different way or anything like that. So that's how my business kind of took off in the beginning. But a year after I started isogenics, I started in February. So then the following February, I started, let me get the timing down. Oh, when I started isogenics in February, I started going to a personal trainer because I'd seen somebody post about somebody on Facebook. So I was like, I should start lifting weights. So I just went to the personal trainer in February, and then over that course of starting to be more specific with weightlifting, because remember, most of my physical activity had been pretty much all aerobic. It's not much resistance, just like the 10-pound dumbbells that you do in aerobics class. So then I started going to a personal trainer, being more specific with weight training and continuing my aerobic stuff too. And then started seeing some pretty good results by the end of that year. So maybe like six to 8 months I was with a trainer. Then a small place, and so they're like, oh, you should compete, because they continue to see my body change from incorporating some more weightlifting, but also continuing the nutrition. So I was like, okay, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? So in January, I was like 20 weeks out from the next show, which was like right around my birthday. So I was like, okay, that's my goal. I'm going to just do it then. So we were able to get more specific with the macros. And I want to say that's probably really when I started doing that, was in January before my April show. So I learned more about changing up the carbs and fats and stuff like that. So what I have learned and what I wouldn't recommend is for somebody to go into a competing time frame while you're still in a calorie deficit. So you want to be eating as much as possible before you start to cut, because then you have more to cut from. So since I was already kind of still dieting at that time, maybe I started training around 1,400 calories. So by the end of the show, which is 20 weeks later, I was probably like at 1,100, and that's really not a good place to be. And still, you know, teaching 4 times a week and working out like 4 times a week with the trainer. So it felt really hard on my body in a metabolic way. So anytime you diet, just recognize that it does kind of damage your metabolism over a long period of time, because your body wants to get really efficient at the lower calories. So just keep that in mind. I know Priscilla probably knows exactly what I'm talking about, but so anyways, I did the show and it was awesome, and it was really fun to see my body change that way. And I had a great trainer. He wasn't crazy about depleting carbs or depleting water. He was very smart about that, and I didn't do anything dangerous like you might hear, you know, bodybuilder stories. So that was super healthy, and he was very on top of that. For even the day of the show, I had a shake, I had plenty of water, so I didn't restrict it in a dangerous way. So then after the show, there's a process called reverse dieting, to where you want to start incorporating a more sensible calorie level, but you want to do it really slowly so you don't like gain 30 pounds in a week. So he helped me kind of through that, but as I said, kind of just with the slower metabolism, and now I'm like 45, so all that hormonal stuff goes on. So I've had like some ups and downs and stress. So I'm over the weight that I want to be maintaining at right now, but I'm kind of working through that with naturopath and hormonal stuff. But I know that as I continue the shakes and I continue eating in a sensible way, that the cortisol and all that stuff that affects us women, which I think there's lots of 40-year-olds there. Oh, there I am. That you all kind of can relate and you know what I'm talking about. But isogenics is definitely the key to me not, you know, getting bigger, for example, or at least being able to maintain control. Because you know, obviously I'm more educated. We're all more educated after getting into this culture. And so, you know, I know it's not the way that I'm eating, basically, that's caused me to kind of not maintain my bikini figure. And I don't think that's really a healthy diet, you know, like a getting on stage kind of prep is not something that anybody should probably do. You can stay stage lean to a point. So yeah, I mean, just the nutrition helped me keep the balance of carbs, fats, and proteins, and still be able to do all of my activity. You know, sometimes you'll hear people that are on diets that they say they can't exercise, so that's like crazy red flag. And my trainer knew that I was always still getting in sufficient proteins and stuff, because I wasn't losing strength at the same time I was cutting calories and stuff. So that's a big indicator of you know, being healthy as you're still decreasing. So
Cool.
yeah, so I still did the shakes, you know, more Isopro than Isoline Pro or Isoline, because, you know, towards the end it's all about protein and lower carbs and moderate fat. So that's how I followed it, and yeah, that's it. Any questions about that?
We do have a question from Cindy Quigley. She was asking, How do you explain the, what do you say to someone that wants to know about the long-term effects of all this protein on the body over years of consumption?
The long-term effects of so much protein, well, it's not like excess protein, it's just the amount of protein that you should have. So the long-term effects are a leaner body, greater muscle mass. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, you're not going to give a 2-year-old 100 grams of protein. So as long as you're consuming the protein that's appropriate for your lean body mass, then there's no harmful side effects. It's just going to be benefits.
Anything else? All right, thank you, April. Furthermore on that comment about the long-term effects, I mean, it's nutrition, guys. It's not, again, that's the cool thing, and that's why I'm so passionate about isogenics. Oh, there's Marcos. So, and in Marco's picture, you can see, just like say, this is pre-accident, and you can see the difference in the definition in his quads. You can see the definition in his face, the muscular setup in his face, and you can't see his arms because his arms are covered in one. But again, it's just, and if you even look at his hips, right, you can see the strength, the muscle that came up around his upper thighs, and that's a big difference there too. So, but the nutrition, guys, is the fact that it's so easy it's easy. It's easy to explain the fact that, look, you need a certain amount of protein a day, you need a certain amount of carbs a day, you need a certain amount of fats a day, and they can dial that in based off of, once you understand and you pay attention to what the carb, proteins, and fats are in the different isogenics products. And that's why I kind of chuckle sometimes, right, when I see people saying, oh, well, can I do this and can I do that? Yeah, if you mix your Isopro with your greens, you're not hurting anything, right? Somebody made the comment, can you do a cleanse along with a bedtime belly buster? Well, the cleanse product is nutrition, right? It's just a different level of nutrition. Now, you're not fasting, right? So if you're taking in protein, then you're not at a fast. Your body's not in a fasted state. So the cleanse product isn't going to have the same impact. Somebody says it cancels itself out. I'm like, it doesn't cancel anything out. It's just nutrition. It's not your body's not going to use it for what the intended purpose is. However, it's still just additional nutrition, right? So you don't get caught up in, can you mix this with this or whatever, but you should understand the difference of a fasted state versus a state where you're adding in the protein. And you guys heard me say it before, a lot of the stuff that's out there on the cleanse, I take a personal issue with, because I understand that the cleanse is designed, the original design of the cleanse was to help your body deplete the sugars that your body has on board. And when you follow the current protocol that's out and follow the current and some of the other suggestions out about taking extra hydrate and doing these other things, you're adding a lot of sugar back into your system that you probably don't need if you're really trying to do a true cleanse or a true detox. So, and I'll tell you guys the reason, or at least my understanding of the reason, is that by adding in the isodelites and you add that stuff in, then more people are successful, right? Because they're getting themselves a treat, right? So that, along the way, so they feel more successful, which is better than not doing it at all, but it's not the best way to do it. And I'll give you another tip that I give a lot of athletes, and that is that if you have to decide something to do, or if you need something on a cleanse day, my preference is a couple scoops of Isopro, right? Because if you do a scoop or 2 scoops of isopro, it's only 100 or 200 calories that you're taking in, but there's no carb. There's 1 carb, right? So you're getting good quality protein on board on your cleanse day. So your body's able to help with any muscle rebuilding and that sort of thing. So your body's not going to scavenge your muscle for the protein needs and the amino acid needs that it might encounter during the day, because you're adding that in by taking in, a scoop or 2 of isopro throughout the day. And I do it all the time. If I do a cleanse day, I can guarantee you at some point I'm doing 1, if not 2 scoops of protein sometime during that cleanse day. And I don't think it impacts the intent of the cleanse, because again, it's 1 gram of carbohydrate. It's literally less. It's more protein than you're going to get in the little wafer snack. So if you've got somebody who says, "Look, I really don't like the wafer snacks," no problem. Hit a couple of servings of isopro, and you've actually got a better setup. And I've talked to the Isagenix dietitian about this, and she's the one that actually suggested it. So this isn't just Brent opinion. This is from the Isagenix dietitian. So that's something that you can also help out with your athletes on that have that issue. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay, so I'll go through the systems right now so you guys can see that. And I don't know, you bet. I'll give you I'll go through the systems that are on that we have set up so that you can kind of see that. I'll have April help me with that because she does a good job of going through the different products, actually better than I do as far as that goes on the different adaptogens and stuff like that are on board. So we'll go through that so that you have that, and that's also on the recording. Okay. So hang on a second. Sorry, I'm gonna take your chair. You can take the chair. Give me a higher chair. Okay. All right. So within Isagenix, the way we explain it is that there are 5. I call it 5 systems now. You have the shakes, which we call the meals. You have the cleanse system. You have the snacks, and you have the vitamins and minerals. Now, in addition to those 4, then you also have the 5th system, which is now the athlete products. Okay, so the AMP line. April always throws in water as part of it as a key element, which is obviously it is. But the primary 5 systems, Isagenix systems, are as I stated, right? When you're trying to talk to somebody about what to start with, because I talked to I enrolled a girl today just before the meeting, and she had wanted to do just the cleanse. But then when I figured out what her goals were, she wasn't going to achieve those goals with just doing the cleanse, because again, the cleanse is not a lifestyle, and we really want to promote the ideology behind using this nutrition long term, right? It's like getting healthy and going to a gym, and then you don't go to the gym anymore, or even if you're a runner, Charlene's here and Marco's here. Okay, so Charlene's here, Marco are here, and they're very avid cyclists. So being very avid cyclists, if I took any of you and put you with them and had them teach you to cycle, and you stayed and you did their mileage, how many miles do you do a week? So she was about 250 miles a week, right, on her bike. So if I put you with her and you started riding 250 miles a week, right, if you worked yourself up to 250 miles a week and you got to that mileage, what do you do, Marco? 200. Marco does 200, right? So you put you with them. Me? 2 rides, 60 miles. So once I get you up to that level, and then if all of a sudden, even if I take these 2 and I restrict you from cycling, or you just quit cycling for a couple months, going out and riding 200, 250 miles is going to be very painful. right? So you're going to lose their conditioning over a period of time. How long would you think it'd take you to lose your current condition? Like if you quit tomorrow. Right. But if you quit, how long do you think it would take you to lose that condition?
Down to a non-race?
Not long, right? 30 days maybe, right?
Yeah.
So you take somebody so same thing goes with the nutrition, right? I can get you up into the nutrition. You're doing really good with the nutrition. And then over the course of, then you quit 30, 60 days later, yeah, you're going to notice a difference because you're going to have lost that level of nutrition. So these people that say, oh, well, what happens if I quit doing it? Well, what happens if you quit working out, if you quit your exercise routine, you're going to lose a level of fitness. If you quit eating good food and you go back to the same habits that you had before you started, you're going to end up back in the same place that you started, right? That's the way it works. So with the nutrition, what we have set up here is we've got what we call a business builder. So this is kind of everything. This is enough for 2 people to do all 4 systems, and that's about just right around $1,000, about $1,100 for 2 people to do all 4 systems. For basically, less than half that price, or more than half that price, you can get the value pack, what they refer to now as the value pack, which has all 4 systems. And all 4 of those systems are your shakes, your snacks, your cleanse, and your vitamins and minerals. So you get all 4 of those systems for about $20 a day. Okay, so for about $20 a day, you're buying in advance, you're buying 56 meals, and you're buying 12 days worth of 12 servings of the cleanse. So 56 meals plus 12, 68. So you're getting about 68 meals covered for that price. In addition to that, you're also getting the blender, you're getting the snacks, the bars, and some other things to help you with that. And then for about half that price, so for about $10 a day, you're getting 2 of the 4 systems. So you're going to get 56 meals plus 12 servings of the cleanse. So you're getting your 68 meals yet again, and then you're getting just the and then you're getting some basic vitamins or some basic minerals that you're getting the IsoFlush and the Accelerator. Okay, but I'll have you cover the ionics. One of the core things, though, that I tell everybody that they should do is the ionics. Everybody should do the ionics. If you don't do the ionics, you're really missing out on something that's really a core portion of Isogenics and something that you're really going to feel, because the additional B vitamins that are in ionics, the assistance that it gives you with your hormones, the stress impact that it's going to have, those are the things that people really feel. And I think you feel that soon. I notice when I don't use that product more than any other product if I don't use it. I'll crave the shakes, like I don't do it, like I missed them for a day or something. I'll actually, crave that nutrition, but I'll really notice the difference if I don't do the ionics. So if you want to cover the ionics.
So shortly after I started, because I used to always go to Dr. Oz for my nutrition advice, and he was talking about ashwagandha, and I was like, I know about ashwagandha something. So he was talking about it for the benefits that it has on your thyroid, and I had just been kind of diagnosed or whatever with low thyroid or hypothyroid. So I was like, oh, cool. So he was talking about ashwagandha and thyroid support, blah, blah, blah. And he mentioned some other herbs which are in here as well. But so I started looking, and it's in the ionics, it's in the cleanse, and I want to say it's in something else. I think it's the vitamins somewhere in something. But yeah, so this is something that I always recommend for people who have thyroid issue, which like probably 80% of women, I don't know, seems like everybody has that or feels the effects, fatigue in the afternoons, especially, and just, low energy, not being able to lose weight, things like that. So the Ionics has that. I want to say it's in like the top 5 list of the ingredients, which means it's a higher concentration of that. And yeah, so for hormone balancing purposes, this is great. A lot of men struggle with it too. So all of the herbal stuff that Dr. Oz is like, oh, have this, have this, have this. It's all combined in here. Again, Isogenics makes it easy to get that in just a little 2-ounce shot. So good.
Yeah, and I want to add to the thing about the hormonal balancing for men also. I've got several guys that, and they just happen to be police officers, they go through the fit for duty testing. So they actually go in, they get tested, and they get their testosterone numbers. So when you get tested, you get your testosterone numbers. So if you've ever heard anybody, you hear all the advertisements about low T problems and all this kind of stuff that are out there for men, especially when they get 40 and over. I can tell you without a doubt that every single guy that I know that has started this program that has had their testosterone checked prior and had their testosterone checked after being on this product, all of their T numbers have come up. So again, it does impact men and their hormones as well, specifically for testosterone.
Yeah, and a lot of women are low testosterone too. So if that increases it or balances it in a positive way, you're going to see better benefits in your ability to build new muscle or maintain new muscle.
And just so I'm clear, I'm not saying that Isogenics raises your T level. I'm saying that when you balance your nutrition, that your T levels will come up. So it's not Isogenics specifically that's causing that, but what's happening is you're getting your nutrition balance, and as you get your nutrition balance, this is something that happens. Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions on that, Trace? Or any questions from you guys? You good? Taking it all in. It's like getting information from a fire hose. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose. Go ahead.
Could you talk about the dairy-free shakes as well?
Sure. Yeah. So Marco asked about the dairy-free shakes. Isogenics is dairy-free shakes, right? This is actually really interesting. I finally now understand because I got the information yet again from the dietitian. Isogenics, not just Isogenics, when you add vitamins to a product, then you are required to show that on the ingredients list, You have to show those added vitamins. Isogenics has tried to create a vegan, not just vegetarian, but a vegan-friendly shake. And this goes way deep, right? A true vegan will not consume fermented vitamins. Isogenics vitamins that we add to our product line are from fermentation process. Our source of that fermentation process is a very good, high-quality product, but that's where the vitamins come from for most everything. I mean, most everything you get out there is through the fermentation source of vitamins. The reason is because if you are going to extract the vitamins from the base plant that it comes from, the product would be so expensive that nobody would buy it, or only a select few would be able to afford it, right? Because it's literally that expensive to do true vitamin extraction from the original product source. So they use a fermentation process. Now, some vitamins, their fermentation process is better than others. Isogenics continues with their no compromise process, so our fermentation process is high quality. But you will not notice a vitamin profile on our dairy-free shakes. There are vitamins in there, but they're naturally occurring from the products that they are derived from. So they don't add anything in, so that they don't have to, and again, this all goes to the whole vegan thing, so that they don't have to explain the fact that where our vitamin source comes from. Because our vitamins that are in here are from the actual products, but they don't list them, okay? So that's the biggest difference. The other big difference is that Isogenics has developed if you look at the amino acid profile for our dairy-free shakes, you'll see that we have all the essential amino acids. If you look at I was looking at a Vega brand or something like that the other day, and if you look at it, it doesn't list all of the amino acids. And the reason is because they don't have the appropriate balance of rice protein and pea protein. And if you don't have the right balance of that, then you don't get all of your essential amino acids, because you don't get all of your amino acids in just rice. You don't get all of your essential amino acids in just pea protein. You have to have a combination of those. And that's why for vegans and vegetarians, it's really difficult to get their branched chain amino acids right, because if they're getting just their food from just the food source, they really have to be pay attention to that they're consuming the right amount of rice protein, the right amount of pea protein in order to hit both of those numbers. And if they're not, then they're unbalanced and they're not getting the best results that they can get. So with Isogenics, what they recommend, and for those of you that are coaching the Bedtime Belly Buster, if you've got somebody who's trying to do the Bedtime Belly Buster but they're vegan or vegetarian, then you tell them to use the dairy-free shake and add a scoop of the Recover to with their dairy-free shake. So if you've got somebody who's vegan or vegetarian and they're using the dairy-free shake, even though there are branched chain amino acids in here, they're still going to be better off if they add the Recover, because Recover has all the BCAAs in it and in a better supply, in a more plentiful supply than is what is in the dairy-free shake. So if you drink it, if you drink the Recover in addition to your dairy-free shake, you're actually getting a better mix of branched chain amino acids and your plant-based protein. Did you know this?
Yes, because you said more.
All right. Any other questions? Did I answer your question? Yeah. Okay. I know. It's like off the deep end with some of the information. But it's necessary because I think we all need to know what we know. Right? Okay, Kelly D? Kelly D showed up. Woohoo! All right, cool. Oh, we have time? We're probably past our time. Okay. All right. So this is going to be the, that'll conclude the actual presentation on the launch. And here in a minute, we'll go ahead and we're going to do the business presentation. We may do it sooner than we had originally planned. What time is it now? 6:57. Okay. So let's plan on starting it at like 7:15, so we can take a little break here. I'm going to turn the record off, and then I'll turn the record back on. So let's see here.